the way to cut through them. Ember with that Desolator build is kind of all right. These two supports are very squishy, but so were the... What did they have? Oracle Shadow Demon in that first game? Pretty much similar.
It's interesting though, because I feel like... Oh, whoa.
Oh!
That's, is that a Seneko Visage?
This could be a Supreme as well, right? Where did they play this Visage?
What is it,
I never saw them play Visage. I never saw them play Visage.
The last game I've seen Visage was on the offlane played by General, right? It was General playing offlane Visage. And it worked out, they won.
This is one of those, I see a lot of similarities between this meta and back at TI5 when CDEC was just kind of running around the map like crazy. And they loved their Visage. Wings was also a big fan.
Are we going to see like an aggro lane with the Visage?
You know what I like about this Visage as well is the fact that now you're not, you can't only think about answering this Bristleback and the Dead Prophet. You have to find a way to answer the Visage now as well, which puts you on a little bit of a timer. And I'm not so sure about the Sand King and what he does here. It is a DM hero, and if he calls for Sand King, you just pick him Sand King.
I mean, their style so far for him seems simple. Pick me a stun. And DM
plus
goes
Grimstroke, right? You have Inkswell, you have Stun. That's a lot of initiation. With the Sandstorm, you're actually able to deal with layers of Visage too. That's kind of good. But overall, it looks like a pretty decent Visage game so far. They don't have anything that you really worry about. If you're a Visage, the most annoying thing are heroes that build utility such as Crimson Guard. That's something you
something
really
like a Sand King.
Sand King will buy.
I think he will buy it. Yeah, he should buy it. Is he a natural builder of Crimson Guard? He isn't, but
the first time I saw DM play was in Aachen, and he was playing mid back then. They were really owning with Sand King mid. They don't get Sand King mid, they lose. They get Sand King mid, they win. And he would always go for these beefy items. And here he has three kind of a squishy heroes, so I feel like he needs to be the frontliner. So, do you really go for a blink here?
You don't have to. You can still go. I think Crimson Guard is definitely an option if the Visage is a core. And if you remember back then, though, when he was picking the Sand King, you have to remember that the items were different as well.
They were.
And you would go Drums Whale, you would be so tanky from the Whale and Drums that you wouldn't be able to die, right? You didn't even have to buy these Crimsons or whatnot. So it was a little bit different back then. They ban out the Anti-Mage or biggest counter pretty much in the laning stage, even though we have seen Anti-Mage fail here on the Pushka League versus
even against Sand King,
versus Sand King.
It's a really wonky hero. It feels very hit or miss. And to your point, I like it a lot as this tankier frontliner because effectively you couldn't get Axe, you couldn't get Centaur, so they're looking to just replace this hero in their lineup, and they're going to make Sand King into a Centaur in a way. The concern I've got now for the lineup, though, is the pushing power. Firmly seems to be in the hands of NiP. Do you look for them to address that with more tower push of their own? Or do you think they just need to double down on their mid-game team fight?
I think you just double down at this point, right? You have 4 heroes that are completely capable to take these team fights in the mid-game, and you double down on that. You try to outplay them until you get those, like that Desolator, let's say, on Ember, that will help you push. That's it. You address the lanes. You can't lose lanes in this game. If you lose them, it's going to be extremely difficult to come back. As with the Visage, the amount of push that they have, Visage, Dead Prophet, Bristleback frontlining.
There's just way too many heroes for you to actually think about only winning the laning stage because the NiP's lineup is okay. That kind of solves against all of them, but they can move their lanes to whatever they like. They can even do some like aggro with the Visage and the Bristleback. He just wraps up those squills and you get the Soul Assumption. So there is a lot of ways that NiP can play their lanes. I'm not sure that VP.Prodigy can actually win the safe lane.
It's a shame NiP banned out that co-op as well. But I think the ban on the co-op gives it away that Visage is most likely at least envisioned mid. They wanted it as mid because Queen of Pain is one of your biggest counters in the laning stage at least.
And I will say, I am a huge fan of Visage. We've seen now, I think, 3 or 4 games in a row where both teams go for these double squishy supports duos. Visage just crushes them. You get a Grave Chill off and send the birds, and heroes like Rubik, like Coddle that we saw from Seagull's game, they just feed. Same here with the Grimstroke and the Oracle.
Okay, they have a Sand King to actually protect them, so that's gonna help a bit. That's where I see his role. So he really needs to protect these supports. But I'm not sure how NiP...
The thing is, in this matchup, right, if you have a Sand King and he's protecting you against heroes because he likes to stun them as well at the same time, and then you can counterplay. But if there's Grave Chill and just the birds are killing you, he's not gonna waste that stun on. And look at this, like, they just want to snowball, that's it. NiP, they have a pretty solid lineup. They did pick a last melee core, right, versus Razor, if the Abaddon is melee even.
Support for all we know.
Yeah, they're very versatile, but Razor should have a blast on any given lane.
A BKB Razor just completely uncountered thus far. I'd say the concern is just who on Prodigy is buying the Vessel. I agree the Deso Ember would be great, but someone's got to buy the Vessel. You might expect it to be the Ember. Yeah. It's a better draft from NiP, though, wouldn't you say?
I think it's weird. We don't actually know what they're gonna do, and I'm not sure how comfortable they are and how well they know this is gonna play out. You don't play this very often. Even if it's a scrim, you don't play drafts like this. Even if you do, they're never the same. So it's kind of hard to execute them. And if this was like a draft from something like a Secret, with a more experienced captain, I think that they could pull it off. This way, I think that VP.Prodigy is going to take it.
Saberlight play the Void Spirit last night. That's also an option. Who knows who's going to play what?
NiP have 5 heroes that can play offlane. Okay? Like, there's really no way to read into this. So just take your best guesses. Who's going to take the double?
I think it's going to be VP.Prodigy because they have a draft that we know what it wants to do, and they're probably just going to snowball with it.
Yeah, sure. I'll go with NiP because they have a draft that we don't know what they're going to do, and it's going to be interesting if nothing else.
I appreciate it. Really just textbook way to break down that game, folks. Thank you very much for that. Without anything else from my panel, we're going to throw it over to the casters, where Odie, Pixel, and Fogged are once again ready to take you into the action. Have at it, boys.
Thank you very much, Kyle. Yes, I mean, this game too, I think I've sort of got to agree with the panel, right, Fog? These drafts definitely looking a little closer than what we saw in Game 1, right? NiP, they've got something that can work out here.
Yes, but also I've never seen, I don't think I've seen a draft like NiP's where it's, I haven't seen a lot of, I mean, I know we used to have a couple games of Visage, but I haven't seen so much of it, but
sure.
They don't got a lot of, you know, ways to catch heroes and lock them down, and they're playing versus an Ember Spirit and a Sand King, which can be pretty elusive and pretty annoying heroes, and their only real form of lockdown is going to be a Aether Remnant coming out from the Void Spirit and Visage Birds that drop and stun. So, I mean, I'm looking at this Ember Spirit, and he looks like he's got a pretty free way to just jump and ping-pong around inside the fights unless he gets caught by a Remnant into like a Silence or something like that. And he has a way to dispel things off from himself too with an Oracle. But, that being said, NiP's draft, I'm just not sure what its potential could have because they do have good damage. I think that's one thing that Visage can always provide for you. And same thing with like the Void Spirit, but is he going to be able to do so? I'm not sure.
And looking at some of the lane setups, obviously, as the panel said, there was a lot of ways NiP could have laned this. They are going to have Saberlight playing the offlane Abaddon, Supreme in the mid lane on the DP, and Charlie playing the position 1 Bristleback, with both the Void Spirit and the Visage being your supports on NiP's side. So, VP will start by taking the outpost, but yeah, we'll be interested to see. You know, sure, we have seen obviously some support Void Spirit. Obviously, Visage, though, on the other hand, is not really a hero that we just see that much at all. So it's definitely not the two most common of supports being played here by NiP. So certainly will be interesting to see what their plan is with these heroes together.
Yeah, that's the big thing is what I'm interested to see is like what their draft is going to do, because when I see their draft, if I see it like ball up as it's like a 5-man unit like hitting towers and stuff like that, yeah, they've got some heal sustain, they've got a Visage kind of like, you know, sitting around with Death Prophet, lots of damage. But I feel like VPP, they've got one that just looks a little bit more traditional. They've got your traditional, like, you know, your stuns, your lockdown, your little like damage that you can ping pong in and out, a save. Just looks much more normal, like the panel was mentioning.
Yeah, I mean, from the sort of 2 drafts I've seen today, I really like the way that VPP do just, you know, they just first pick the Oracle, because they obviously have multiple different drafts that they can play that allow this hero to be such an excellent backup behind. Looking at the lane setups to begin with, sort of across the board, are you seeing sort of any certain lane matchup that looks to be rather one-sided here?
DM could just die bottom. That's the one that I see, because he's got the Goo and the Blightstone, so He's just gonna get hit, and the Soul Assumption actually gets targeted onto the Grimstroke, but I think they should be able to get the Mini with a couple more goos and hits, and they do. I like that. Blightstone plus goo, so Blightstone on the Seneko and then goo on Charlie, and Sand King is a very low armor hero. He's put negative immediately.
Yeah, I mean, he was instantly punished for that move in with the Sandstorm. Sentry placed in the trees, NiP more than ready for the laning off the Sand King. Looking at the other lanes, we'll see if Supreme has a bit of a better time in the mid lane this time round. Had a rough matchup against FN in game 1. Bit of sort of link on link action here. Link comes out, Syphon's there in response, so may have stolen the damage, but he's going to take a little bit of a beating for it.
Yeah, I think Supreme should have a better time in this one.
Yeah, one of those heroes that
choosing.
Doesn't care too much about having his damage taken. He's just got the alternate methods of securing those last hits with the Crypt Swarm.
Yeah, and he's always just got this nice, like, you know, that range on Death Prophet over a Razor is just great. That extra 125, you can always just beat on him while he's walking up and stuff too. Sure, Razor will get his last hits, but, you know, like I said, Supreme will do better in this matchup. Top, though, I do believe that, I mean, I think Denver should have a pretty okay time. I think Saberlight will also get good farm up here, though. Getting aggressive onto him, they can always just dispel. Even potentially turn it is a double melee lane, so they have to be careful versus that Fortune's End at times.
Down bottom. Looking at the last hits, still been hard for DM to really get started down here. This first level of play, Charlie and Seneko with the sentry coverage too have made it hard for DM to sort of set up his ground and find a space to hold the lane in.
Yeah, the first two levels
gets free farm.
First 2 levels for Sanking are pretty atrocious. Like, if you get off to a bad start, it's just going to take you a bit. Once you're level 3, you're going to be able to farm and push the lane in consistently. But yeah, first 2 levels, you're one of the weaker, I guess, off-laners if we count him, because we don't see that much Sanking, right?
No, it's definitely not sort of the top, but we've seen it here and there.
Yeah, here and there.
And in terms of items for DM, you know, the panel was saying, you know, whether you are going to have some utility hero getting like the Crimson Guard online against, you know, the familiars, the right clicks from these heroes. Would you like to see that from DM, or do you think DM needs to get a blink for his lineup early?
They have the Ember at least to go on the back line. He might want to blink to follow him, but then also I'm also thinking like I think they were mentioning who's gonna be the Vessel buyer. I'm wondering maybe like what if DM just buys it for himself and then lets the Ember go for more of a damage build? I'm not sure. I think he has a couple options.
Top lane Ina getting caught by the tower there.
Yeah, very far
that's
forward.
a kill there away on the top lane, in a lane that already Saberlight is finding the farm, and Epi Kids, sure, he still is as well. The mid lane,
it's a courier.
Gets the courier as well. All right, he'll die for his efforts, but he'll tell you that it's worth it. I mean, 44 gold each, times that by 5, that is more than the 193, so in terms of the numbers,
literally worth it.
It counted. Bottom lane, I think that's what you're talking about. Level 3's there, he's got the 2 points to the Sandstorm, then they're able to fight back. They move him with the Ink Swell.
And Seneko.
See if they can get him too. Stroke of Fate, it's got a hit. He doesn't even need to use it. The right clicks will do it. So certainly 3 heroes dropping dead all over the map for NiP. 2 down bottom and Saberlight up top.
Yeah, and FN doing quite well in the mid lane. He's able to actually get some really nice links, even without boots, versus a boots Death Prophet. He actually got the boots early on Supreme, but he's still getting just linked way too much, like way too much damage, and FN's able to secure all these denies because of it.
Yeah, we're seeing pretty much half a level advantage to FN with the experience in this 1v1. Back down bottom, Charlie and Seneko, they're getting split up a bit. It's a 5-minute runes coming in. VP doing their best to secure the ones down here. In fact, they're going to look for the kill. Saves there with the lead in, has the Inkswell stun onto Seneko. Burrow Strike into that Sandstorm. They'll have the damage to take this man down. Seneko will fall. Another kill for the 2 down here. Charlie will be able to move over and get that bounty rune back in on the mid. FN, it was a close one between the 2 of them, but he does indeed win that trade. This is... There's suddenly these lanes that didn't have the worst of starts for NiP, this mid and bottom lane, they're beginning to crumble a little bit as VP are getting these kills.
Yeah, I feel like this one is just FN just outplaying, really. I mean, sure, he's He's got maybe a little bit of advantage in this matchup, perhaps, as a Razor, but I mean, even in comparison to that last game, too, like DK versus Puck, he just dominated the matchup. He's on a roll right now.
We'll see if
they're
Eric
looking to try to
him.
shut him down.
Yeah, he is low FN. No regen, just the 2 Wraith Bands, but he's also playing it smart. Doesn't want to touch the wave. He'll head back, use the Eye of the Storm to farm a neutral camp. Most safer place to be. He knows that supports are off the map, and he doesn't want to be caught by this. Era's going to be able to protect that Arcane Rune for Supreme. He will have the active of it whilst he hits level 6, so he should be able to get a nice reduced cooldown out with that first usage of the Exorcism if he wants to start poking at the tower.
Charlie has to be careful bottom. He's been sitting very low, and he can just get chain comboed up, and there's a decent amount of burst damage as we've seen from this. We see DM, he goes for just massive amounts of armor since he's playing versus all that minus armor at the start. And mid, there's that Exorcism. I believe it was after the Arcane Rune was gone, or it got dispelled, I think, by the... Yeah, it got dispelled by the Oracle.
Oracle took it off as soon as he saw it, yeah.
Okay.
But still, should be some good damage onto the mid tower here. With FN out of the lane, he walks back to base. We'll have a TP to return to it. 15 seconds to live the Storm. We'll see if he wants to come and put together a defense. Will be on his own, though. He will come forward with the TP, still feeling very strong in himself. Era's around, but they've got this ward down, so they see Era in this position. Save's coming over. He might be able to connect with FN as this Eye of the Storm is available and try and find a fight off the back of this. He won't be able to connect with the Q, and in fact, Save, he's going to get turned on immediately, but the Ink-Swell Stone will hit onto Supreme. FN leading in onto Supreme, and he'll bring him down before any sort of heals or save come out. As FN just continues to just blow heroes away in the mid lane. That's 2 kills back-to-back on the Death Prophet. Damage was done to VPP's mid-tier 1 tower, but it's costing a lot of early momentum on this DP. 2 deaths now in the mid lane.
I love that suicide play there by Save, right? You're confident you're going to die in that situation there, but you're getting just such a good trade for FN. Level 8 now already. Gonna have good look to be set up to having a great game as he did last time. Top Epileptic Kid and Saberlight have kind of been going at it a bit here in a 1v1, and meanwhile, I missed bottom.
Yeah, Seneko dying once more. Visage, it seems like this hero is beginning to struggle. This is 3 deaths on the Visage in this laning stage, both DM and Save. Anytime they get on top of him, the combo, it just tears him apart this early on very easily.
And they'll always get on top of him, because that's the problem with Visage, is you crawl. This hero has always been one of the biggest things that you can't move. If people get on top of you in the laning phase in particular, you're very squishy too, because the build that you go for.
Top. They're diving in for Ina, and they're fighting him. Saberlight will be fine as well. He's able to skill the 6. He's got the ult. And we'll tank the tower and step out of there. So a kill to be found, back towards mid. Snakeo's going to come in and support Supreme here with this push-up. 20 seconds until Exorcism's ready. They want to try and commit it for this objective. Both Save and FN keeping themselves in the trees. Sort of checking out the situation. Snako will be able to get in and get that ward down on the cliff.
Same thing as last game, though. VPP just always constantly addressing your mid tower. And they're even going to buff up FN heavily, and he can go in.
Ooh, pop in the Exorcism here. And an attempt to fight back onto FN, and they'll get him. They'll be able to put him back with the Ether Remnant, jump forward with the Resonant Pulse. Sarah's going to be able to nuke down a second. It's a double kill for Supreme, and they'll be able to turn it in style. Triple kill for the Death Prophet.
And
at this time, yeah, VPP make a bit of an awkward call. They try and jump him as the ghosts come out, but Supreme's able to turn and take down all 3 of them.
That's when Staneko's like, all right, I may be a Visage, I may be slow, I may die, but for the greater cause. That's a real big swing there. They even get to go in, and I believe some of these wards are already aggressively placed down by Era, but he's able to get aggressively into the enemy jungle now and just kind of like, pose a threat, staying near the outpost, waiting for someone to try to steal it away.
Yeah, DM will be able to balance it, get the Radiant one for themselves. So we'll be 1 for 1 on the outpost. 10 minute in as they're not quite able to get back towards this top one in time. And Save and DM, they're on the move towards mid. They were smoked. It does get dispelled. And unlikely to be able to make that jump happen now. As both FN and Supreme keep themselves very safe. Supreme, of course, with a haste rune bottled up too, so not an easy target to find. And obviously, other than those 2 deaths, it's 5 kills on the DPs. Picking his game back up. You can see on the net worth, he's there at the top spot, Supreme. So much better time this game than he had in game 1.
Haste is the dream too. This is the like the perfect rune for him. He can get to any of the side lanes really quickly. He can also go to help his 2 supports that are looking to set up for something in the jungle. They're spotting FN.
See if Ever can make the lead in. He's got 6, quick jump forward with the step. The Remnant won't grab him though. Hits onto a creep instead. FN trying to escape and time's been bought for Epic Kid to come in. Jumps forward with the Remnant. They'll turn over towards Supreme. The false promise keeping FN safe as now Supreme, he's in trouble. The Siphons, they are healing him. In fact, he's not in trouble at all. Saberlight's in with the Aphotic Shield. Supreme will survive. DM goes in with the Burrow Strike onto Seneko. They'll take down the Visage. They'll lose their Ember in return. Epicenter is attempted by DM, but the micro from Seneko with that Familiar holds him back with the stun. DM won't be able to close the gap. Do lose the birds, but definitely, you know, NiP, they are able to kill off the Ember and make sure they don't lose too many heroes themselves, getting Supreme out of there safely.
Definitely like their aggressive moves that they're making this time around, and they're giving a lot of space for Charlie to just farm up the items that he deems to be the best ones this game. Very good hood game if he wants to even... I don't know if he'll need to. I don't think he should go for the whole pipe yet. But if he does want to later on, maybe he can. But yeah, so much magic damage on VPP. That's going to be good to protect him. And if he wants to, for the Death Prophet.
Yeah, it looks like Saberlight's going to get the pipe.
He's going to do it. Okay.
Yeah, he's got also his hood done and dusted, so will suit him a little better and allow Charlie to go for something a bit more down the carry lines. It's bottom lane, Epic Kid. He's going to have a bit of a poke on it, but save is there. They'll actually go with the silence. There's a borrowed time up on Saberlight. They'll pop it, and they'll get out with that. Head back over to the creeps, keeping the efficiency high, Epic Kid. And his itemization, the phase into and being that playmaking Ember build. Finding a lot of space for FN to freely farm the camps as he wishes with the Eye of the Storm, get his core items online, going for the drums into BKB.
Such a good Vessel game. Bristleback, Abaddon, as well as that Death Prophet. That should be really nice if Epileptic is able to get that one set up. Like you said, DM going for Blink, so they can have some other form of initiation and catch up. But right now, NiP, like we mentioned earlier, they do have a strong draft if they're able to group up and play around it with their sustain. Right now, everyone's not here yet, though.
I mean, they know that there's no borrowed time. They're able to poke it out earlier by NiP's tier 1 tower, so they'll move in, kill him off before it's online again. See if they can chase for more. Drums are popped. FN's in, close the gap onto Supreme, who's tried to stick around. He does have backup on its way, but are they going to be able to do anything to save him? It doesn't look like it at all, as Supreme will fall. The rest of NiP, they've just got to get out of this. Seneko will be able to run. They won't chase on for this VPP, so the rest of Ninjas in Pajamas will live for now.
Huh. Interesting, too. And, like, they pressed forward like they wanted to pressure the tower, right? And Charlie ran all the way top while he had a TP. And now, as soon as he gets to top, he actually TP's bottom.
Era's going to try and jump in on this. He's held in place by the chain, saves there with the wraparound. Era's going to be silenced or not. Dissimulate will dodge it, but FN slows him down with the Q. Another step away with the Astral. He's trying to escape, but now the Soulbind, at least the other two of them, they've lost more heroes to Saberlight. He's got borrowed time. He will live. But that whole sort of scenario spiraling out of control from NiP, just sort of going off that awkward timing that they pushed with. Yes, they had the Exorcism, but Saberlight, he didn't have borrowed time. He's without it for 20 seconds. He instantly gets focus taken out. Now behind the tower, Charlie's in trouble as well. The 5 of them surrounding the Bristle. TP's coming in. They'll rev it up. Have they got the damage to bring him down? He is tanking with the Aphotic Shield. He's still alive. Finally falls. The nuke him out with the Purifying Flames. Controls there for Snake onto FN, but the save's there from Ina. He has the false promise. FN going for the TP out. They got any further cancel? They do not.
Fine.
Razor will live. Ina will throw himself back towards them, giving his life to allow the rest of VPP to get out back to safety as they take down Charlie and only lose the Oracle.
That was VPP just like sheer numbers, just taking the advantage over NiP. And NiP kind of trickled one by one, right? From the start where it was just Saberlight as well as Supreme in the front. Charlie, like I said, he was running top and he had his TP. He TP'd so late down bottom to join the rest of his buddies. And by that point, he was alone. They're able to isolate him on the tower. I think Ina, every time I've seen him actually with this Oracle, he always is able to get the false promise into a healing salve on people too, as we saw there. He also has a shovel, which is like the best item on an Oracle. And yeah, they're playing really good as a unit. Again, now bottom, DM.
Oh. See if they can take down the Sand King here. Ina hasn't got a false promise available to help him out as DM will fall. They'll be able to nuke down the SK now. Could try and chase maybe for more. Seneko, does he want to check it out with the birds? He won't. They won't dive past the tier 1. They'll just look to bring the creep wave round and try and finish off this objective as Supreme has got Ghosts ready to go once more. So just scouting out behind the tower, seeing if you can find any of these supports. They've got the wraparound on Ina. Ina seems to be in a fair bit of trouble as he's been silenced. He's able to purge it off. Is there any sort of help coming from him? It looks like his team may just let him fall. In fact, the heals are not.
Okay.
He will be able to walk away from the three of them. Supreme was trying to stay on top of him, but Snako wasn't using the familiars to stay in, and Saberlight and Era weren't interested in diving. Now VPP can come back with a response. The ghosts are out, but VPP, they've now responded with a strong defense, and not much damage at all is going to be done with this exorcism. NiP's got to walk this one away.
VP with a good response, defending those towers, setting up well. NiP, I feel like when they have that exorcism pop, they really need to press the issue pretty hard, but it's scary when it's just the level 1 exorcism still. Like, Supreme is still only level 11. It's not as strong as it can be. And yeah, they're still scared of all of that burst damage. They don't have those, I mean, they have the shield, which is a pretty good save for the death prop, but it's nothing like an Oracle.
No, so yeah, the sort of saves that Ina could come in have been massive. And now FN, he's got his Sand, she's going for the S&Y, just the full stats, tank it up build. And he's hitting some excellent timings. You see on the net worth, he's starting to make quite a lead for himself in that top spot as the Razor. Finishing off that tower.
You know, you talk about the stat build, it's just straight mobility too, right? He's got the drums, he's going to have S&Y, and he's got the brooch. So he's going to be able to stick on targets pretty easily. And as we mentioned, limited disable on the side of NiP. So this Razor running at pretty fast movement speed, just cutting into the backlines, will definitely be a problem.
They do not have their pipe complete on Saberlight, so
okay.
That extra way is to protect themselves from the initiation of these sort of heavily magical damage-oriented heroes such as DM, who's now got the blink, so we'll be able to find those jumps in the fights. And Jules finally done from Supreme, so he himself also having a mechanism to save himself in these fights.
Still not keeping up in farm though. FN, he's just popping his Eye of the Storm off cooldown every time and hitting Ancients, even a stacked one this time. You see he's almost 15.
Yeah.
Death Prophet just has hit 12 recently on Supreme, so he's really keeping himself ahead of the game, ahead of that curve.
Yeah, he's having a pretty incredible time here, FN. Yeah, 15 is it. He's got that extra damage now available with the increased amount stolen with the static link.
Yep, Epileptic Kid does have the Spirit Vessel now finished. He's going to be doubling back for a Maelstrom. And they want to already get some charges.
They're going to try and go on Charlie. Jump in with the epicenter to get in front of him. Is there any sort of help in time? They're trying to head over to save this Bristleback. He's falling low. Charlie still lives, finally falls. They've lost the Bristle. Lead forward for Supreme, but there's the save onto DM. False promise from Ina allows him to turn, get the Burrow Strike off. This Death Prophet is in so much trouble. Supreme, or is he? The side for the Sleight of Fist, they'll be able to keep him alive. This Ember won't get out. As Ember will fall, they turn over towards FN. They couldn't kill the DP in time. Supreme was able to keep himself alive with the Siphons. FN, he's got to run. They're down to just the 3 of them. Supreme's trying to chase. He'll have the Yules back up in a second. If he can close the gap and find a further setup, but FN and Save will manage to retreat back up to the high ground. And yeah, they're keeping their DP alive. And VPP, sure, they did manage to burst down Charlie at the start, but it really did take everything they had to take him out. And NiP were close enough to turn the fight around.
Absolutely. That was like exactly. They had to just spend way too many resources to actually bring him down. And yeah, the saves, the pipe coming into play there for sure, protecting Supreme just that little bit extra in order to get an extra shield and an extra heal off. And then they can turn that fight. With that exorcism, they're still quite strong, but without it now, VVP wants to make a play. And they do.
Quickly eliminating Suneko. They'll turn over towards Zera. Jumps with the Dissimulate into the trees. Epic Kid's not got any more remnants, so won't be able to dive on. He can bring this mid lane in, start to push on to the tier 1 tower of NiP.
They're really starting to recognize and just identify the damage on NiP is pretty negligible. Without Exorcism, it's so hard for them to fight, and they can take advantage of that with this timing right now.
The grab onto Saberlight. See if they can poke out maybe the borrowed time, but there's the pipe pop. He's got the barrier protecting him. Fortification used as well. NiP will be able to push VPP off the tower. Keeping it alive. Now Charlie trying to keep a lockdown onto DM, but DM will be able to step away. Error being focused by Epic Kid. He's able to juke out the Burrow Strike with that Dissimulate. Epic Kid turns towards Saberlight. They'll pop the borrowed time. Looking over towards Snake, he's protected by the Aphotic Shield for now. He's clumsy net out. DM again saved just in time by Ana with that false promise, allowing him to turn with the Burrow Strike and this Epicenter to kill off Seneko. Saberlight still running forward. He has to be a little careful now without the borrowed time available. Chains onto Era. No, it didn't quite grab him. Era does manage to jump once more. He'll live, but NiP, they have lost 2. Supreme and Charlie have got to be careful. Ghosts are available for Supreme. Charlie still staying on the front lines. He's going to be the focus. There'll be a buyback from Saberlight. Charlie getting melted pretty low. The save comes in from Saberlight, healing him back up with the Mist Coil and the Aphotic Shield.
What a disengage. That's it. Instantly as the Exorcism gets popped, everyone just full split, Delta split. Everybody goes to a different lane for the side of VPP to push them out. Perfect reaction to that coming out there, and the way that they actually played around the fight was pretty neat. Like Epileptic Kid is distracting the 2 supports on the back line while another fight's happening up near the 2 cores of VPP on the other side of the river. And yep, just playing around that Exorcism cooldown. I think they've completely identified now that the damage on NiP is just there's just no damage without Exorcism.
Yeah, we'll see what they do now again with that 100 seconds where it's not online. How VPP is going to choose to play into it. Let's top Charlie. Just trying to get Epic Kid out of this area, but Epic Kid obviously not too much to worry about with that Remnant. Prepared defensively, he's closing in on the Maelstrom on top of the Spirit Vessel. I'm seeing the net worth lead start to grow for VPP. 3k ahead, 20-13.
Now they're starting to actually be able to pressure the tower. Like we said, no Exorcism. This is their go time. They're always going to be looking for something. Era has another jump away. He's going to try for it, but gets picked off anyway from the Slight.
And what items do we have coming in for the rest of them? DM looking for that Lotus Orb. Again, just to have further ways of committing himself into the front of the fight without being worried too much about the instant focus from NiP's cores. Around towards mid, NiP. See if they can get any sort of catches. Very hard for them. Pretty much just the Yules into the silence is all they have on these heroes. Again, VPP
still fighting.
Just backing off.
Yeah, and still fighting. It's like 20 seconds till Exorcism. You know that Prodigy, they have that timer. So right now they're like, okay, back up. Like Exorcism going to be coming up. This a move I like. This kind of forces the hand of VPP. They now have to fight into Exorcism if NiP does pop it. There's quite a lot of spam that can come in though, and there's a epicenter burrow around a pit, which can be a bit scary.
Yeah, and already NiP, they know this is risky. They need to ideally pop the Exorcism, find a kill, and then be able to move into the pit with the rest of the ult. See if that happens though. DM setting up in the trees, smokes dispelled. He's got to throw the dust out. Silenced as well. DM's got to break away. They're looking to try and take down Ina. Make sure the Oracle's not available for the fight, and they'll do so. It's a clean kill as there's no Oracle. Turning over to ward save. DM comes in with the Burrow Strike and the Blink Off to protect save from the chase of the Familiars. Kid does his best to just cut the wave mid, stop them from being able to push on with it. But of course, NiP, they're more than happy with just looking for Roche. They'll head in, see if they want to full commit with the Exorcism. They're just going to do it without, by the looks of it, with the
They killed them so fast.
Yeah, they take this big boy down. It's now with
and
the
saving Exorcism for the fight. I love it.
Now they can look for some serious objectives. Epi Remnant's out. But now really is NiP's time to push. Once again, they've got everything that they need. Aegis as well, of course, on Supreme.
FN is pretty far up here. Ina does port down to try to help him.
Has got the false promise if FN is too pressured. And NiP see already just breaking away from him, and they move towards the Oracle. Anytime they see Ina, they know that with him alive, he's always going to be able to protect his cause. They've got to try and get on top of him if they want to get the kills.
Good window for NiP now to see how they want to actually take the fights and what they want to progress with this Aegis. I believe VPP will mostly just push out the lanes before looking to try to take a fight. If they do take a fight, they're probably going to look to just get a pick off first. DM being chased here.
So what they can do, Remnant won't find him. Stun as well, won't quite be there. They do, however, have the creeps pushing in on mid, so we'll surely want to try for something more. Still though, because of this sort of group up and go, the level difference just increases. Supreme level 15, whereas FN is just about to touch level 19 on his Razor. They managed to get themselves on top of DM. DM, he has been silenced. They'll force him to the side, and a Burrow Strike will get him out of there. The Familiar's turning their attention over towards Save. Charlie trying to dive, but it's into a tier 3. They've got to be a bit careful. The Soulbind linking the two of them. Borrowed time is out. Supreme, he wants to commit for this fight. Popping the Exorcism. DM comes in with the Epi, though, onto the two of them. Saberlight's got to be careful. Another shield will protect their turn. Then you've done Epi Kid. As the Ember, he dies in the midst of it all. Over-committing and no save available for him, as there's no Ember. NiP are free to at least finish this tier 2. See if they want to try and poke for more with the rest of this. FM being siphoned. He's very beefy though, also having the Hyperstone, so he has that extra potential to kick back. NiP, they're still trying to just stay on this high ground, do as much damage as they can to this tier 3 for the remainder of this ult, and they will be able to do about half HP of it. So tier 2 and a half a tower taken on the high ground. NiP definitely able to make a move with that Aegis, and of course still being able to protect it. So we'll see if they can do sort of another round of it when the ghosts are up once more.
Yeah, I like the way they surrounded the tower. You know, you're playing versus like a Grimstroke. You kind of have to pierce through the back lines. They're just going to keep spamming and pushed out. Charlie just dives forward to force a reaction out of Prodigy, and they do get that reaction. Exorcism is going to be on cooldown now for about 80 seconds, but like you said, some decent structural damage, and now they can pick up some nice items for themselves, in particular that BKB on the Death Prophet.
And just Epic in that fight, just dying far too quickly. Obviously with his build, this Vessel into the death, so it does hurt, but he is fully reliant on his supports and teammates being able to cover him. And when he dies that quickly in the front of it, surrounded by the 5 heroes, there's not really anything his teammates can do to help him.
Yeah, no Oracle ult available either. Had already used it on DM. They're going to have a Lotus Orb on DM next, so they'll have at least a little bit more protection or ways to remove, in particular, like silences. But yeah, he really has to be careful of, I guess, I think the 8th Remnant was the one that clipped him in the last one that actually pulled him and got him killed. So he just needs to be a little wary, because there's not that crazy amount of disables that he does have to worry about still.
Again, any window where they know there's no Exorcism, they do not feel scared about coming over onto NiP's half of the map and farming what they can. AC complete on FN. So that next fight, as long as Epikid doesn't die at the beginning, the AC aura plus him coming in with the Desolator hits, some of these heroes on NiP are going to take huge amounts of physical burst.
Not really many with the most armor that I'm seeing either now. 6 armor Death Prophet, 6 on Vadin, 3 and then 5 and change with your Gravekeepers and whatnot. Yeah, they're very low armor. Yeah,
it's only really the Bristle that's got anything against that sort of fight.
Still trying to waste time, it seems like. Prodigy, as we mentioned, not trying to take those head-on fights until that Aegis in particular is gone. About a minute left on that one. Exorcism is at the ready. If NiP tries to force the issue, as their lanes are in a pretty good spot. Saberlight's pushing in bottom, but the other two are quite nice.
I found out this with the DP Supreme going for the Blink build after his Yule's BKB, rather than opting to maybe buy himself some more armor and focusing on just, I guess, getting to the back lines, getting that silence onto heroes such as the Oracle.
Like usually you see the DP blink with an Oracle on your team, right? Because you can blink the whole time during the ulti.
Yourself, right? Yeah.
He's got the shield, I guess. That's one thing that can. And yeah, maybe just a straight positional thing. If you can get a clutch silence off on some of these heroes, it is just so impactful. A blink and a silence in the back onto this Oracle. Oracle has no way to play around that. You have to like pre-cast your Fortune's End on yourself or something, right? To like dispel the silence instantly if Supreme does catch it. So if he's able to get that silence, he can stop the save completely. But he's still a ways away from me. He still could change if he even goes for that item, but we'll see.
He could, yeah. Well, we could certainly see other things being explored. Push to come in again. Is the Aegis gone, though? Mm-hmm. So they will not have that to rely on. NiP, it's tier 2. It's taken without any issues. Epileptic Kid just taking the towers up top, continuing to go full in on the physical. Crystalis is nearly done, so he really will hit hard. As long as he doesn't overcommit and get caught by NiP. As this high ground push, it's coming in. They are going to have to respond soon, Virtus.pro, if they want to put a stop to this. There's the route onto Saberlight, jump forward from DM with Burst Trap, but he doesn't get the heroes. Only the birds. FN has the static link onto Charlie, but Charlie will be able to break it. The Ghost now out from Supreme. Popping that ult and using the spider legs to get into an optimal position. Going onto the high ground to try and get to those back lines. Silence is available, gets it onto both DM and FN. The borrowed time is popped. DM getting nuke low. The Soul Assumption will finish him off. They've killed off the Sand King. He'll buy back. That buyback seeming to be enough for NiP to think twice about pushing on for these racks. They'll lose the Visage as these hard hits from Epikid. They do come in. You got to watch out for those sleight of fists. If he gets the crit, it's going to hurt. But Supreme runs in, again, finding the supports, taking out Ina. FN slowing down Charlie with the plasma field. DM going in with the epicenter. And with that Vessel 2 on Charlie, he's falling down low. He's trying to run, but the Ink Swell will catch him. Zera, he won't be able to make it out either. Another kill from Epikid, getting these hits with the sleight of fist. These crits, they hurt. As they will hold VPP. They may have lost the tower, but they keep both the racks alive and they kill off 4 members of NiP. Again, the push with the exorcism, it does a little, but it's not finishing off the objectives. They're not managing to take down these racks. And as this kind of slows down, and if Epikid's able to get an item on top of his Chrysalis, say he does want to get like a BKB for himself, this Ember and Razor's just going to tear through NiP's attempts at a push.
Yeah, it was what? I'm checking it right now. It was 6 Sleight of Fist in the last one. He did 6,000 damage. Razor did 6,000. And then it was 8 Stroke of Fates, which actually also came out from the Grimstroke, which was quite a bit. But yeah, they're really starting to punch through. And there's not a lot of armor, as we're mentioning. And he committed for the Blink Dagger on Supreme. So
I mean, it did save him then.
Armor.
It did save him then. He was able to blink away from the Ember. But yeah, we're interested to see, because he's got to make some incredible plays with this. Otherwise, it kind of feels like 2K down the drain. You know, you're not tanking yourself up. If they get on top of you, you're not likely to get the opportunity to blink out. And the shield, as you say, it's something, but there's so much damage coming out from VPP. You just get caught by a straight sleight of fist, and suddenly that shield just gets taken apart in one hit.
Yeah. They're starting to recognize that too, though. I'm sure they did a little bit ago too. They've got the Vlads now in Saberlight. They've got the AC queued up and the Shivas queued up. But for the next few moments, it might be painful with this Mighty Summer. Blink Silence.
That's the lead in. Don't have quite enough follow up after. You know. But we're seeing the potential there. You know.
Yeah.
Does managing to sort of punish the push. Well, as this happens, the wraparound's been made by VPP. They come in on the back lines. Supreme is going to pop the Ghost very ambitiously here. There's 5 heroes around. As FN, Supreme is panicking. He tries. Oh, no. He tries to TP. He dies to the physical. I mean, this is the problem, right? He pops a BKB. That's not going to protect you against this Razor and the Ember. They just kill you off very easily. That is Exorcism and a BKB charge down the drain for the Death Prophet.
They just have like I said, they have like no armor, and they didn't they're starting to address it, but it's already too much. It's already a big problem. He hits level 20 on Ember 2 and a Daedalus, so even more physical as they're gonna find Era.
See if they can find Saberlight too. He's trying to run, but he just doesn't have the heroes alive to help him out. Charlie's gonna come and he finishes the TP. Whilst most of his team are dead, he is tanky. He'll self-load, so there'll be a buyback from Era in an attempt to help him. But even him, he's getting torn apart by these right clicks. He's dead as well. It's a 9K lead, and things are starting to crumble big time for NiP. And you know, maybe questions can be asked around the Blink Dagger pickup on the TP. They just don't have armor. These heroes are dying far too quickly right now. As Epikid getting away with this Deso Daedalus build because of the lack of lockdown. It's just destroying them. And FN, his game just continues to get better and better. He's pretty much got a full Skadi done, and he's level 23.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's a pretty... Skadi also very good item, right? Versus Death Prophet, even better than it was in the past. And yeah, everything really seems to just have fallen together perfectly for VPP in the last few moments. And NiP, who had this... Everything was working together for them. It seems like they have just hit a bit of a wall of VPP. Yeah. And VP, like, their itemization is just, it's beautiful. They recognize it. They're like, there's no armor, right? That was their whole plan, because even with the medallion on the Sand King 2 going into Solar Crest, they're all just pumping up their armor and their negation of the armor versus NiP's draft.
I mean, playing sort of from this much behind for NiP's lineup, it's so hard, because at this stage of the game, it's like, well, who is their scaling carry, right? You have a position 1 Bristle that, for the most part, you know, Charlie, he's had to build pretty darn defensively. Lotus, Vanguard, Hood, a plate mail. they just don't do the damage. Meanwhile, you have Epikid sliding in and hitting like 1,200 damage crits on the slide. It's like, well, what is your answer to this? What do you have at this stage of the game against VPP's cause?
Pretty much. I think their whole, like we said, the whole plan around it really is they have to be a bundled 5-man unit and just get the push successful. But they have to play perfectly around the fight being pretty fast too, because they only have that duration of exorcism where they're actually powerful.
Supreme's going for it.
They're gonna try.
I mean, it's just the two of them. TPs are coming in. He'll pop the BKB Supreme. I mean, he's got to run away from this. He's going to go for the TP out, and he will make it away. That's, he's sort of dancing on death's doorstep there. He will survive. Rax, of course, also more than fine. VPP able to push them off in time.
Now there's no exorcism. Yeah, 2 minutes. Prodigy can kind of just push the lanes and look to take a fight immediately now.
It feels like sort of NiP are trying to grasp at straws now, trying to make something work out of nothing. And it's that's sort of the best attempts they have right now, sort of split them up, try and sneak in an exorcism push onto the Rax, whilst hopefully for them, VPP don't realize, but of course VPP, they're not going to miss that. And now they're ready to run at you. They know there's nothing to be scared of. Saberlight, he's in trouble, shield's already been used. They'll have the borrowed time coming out in a second. They'll be able to chase. We'll see how aggressive they want to play. Epikid just moving up to the high ground. He's got nothing to fear right now. The Sleight of Fist just destroys the Abaddon. As Saberlight is gone. Creep waves. Charlie has managed to keep the top wave pushed all the way out. The mid lane is pushing in, though, against NiP. So VPP should be able to sweep over, start to bring this one up towards the high ground of NiP.
And they took the gem. I believe Saberlight had just picked up a few moments before that. They chased him super far into the base for that one. 30 seconds, no Abaddon, no real front line now, it seems. Charlie's going to try to be that front line, but as we've seen in this game so far, they can turn on him pretty quickly.
He's trying to get a reaction out of FN. FN will now turn with the static link. DM. Two-man Power Strike forcing out the BKB from Supreme. Supreme trying to turn with the Siphons. But he's got to be careful. This BKB duration is pretty low right now. FN just turns, hitting back hard with the Skadi. There's no BKB left on the Death Prophet. He's out of the game for 70. Supreme, no buyback. Jumped in with a Burrow Strike onto Era. Era torn apart too. Two dead. They'll move in for more. Diving here, pass towards the tier 3s. It's getting to be all over right now for NiP as VPP. Their itemization, it just worked out perfectly this game. They knew exactly what had to be done. They abused the lack of armor on NiP's heroes. And NiP, they had the momentum at the start, but there was always that